everyone, very warm welcome to the Canada News with your host Divya Roy. Now let's take a look at the headlines. The Minister of Immigration and Refugees of Canada made a big announcement in which he announced to give PR to the families of Canadians who lost their lives in Ukraine Airlines. Major General Denny Fortin, head of Canada's Vaccine Distribution Task Force, said 20 million doses had been sent to provinces and territories. NDP MP Gurratan Singh raised the issue of Salman Fakiri in the Assembly in December 2016, in which he said that he was hit in the head by the guard. Now news in detail. The Minister of Immigration and Refugees of Canada made a big announcement in which he announced to give PR to the families of Canadians who lost their lives in Ukraine Airlines and Ethiopian Airlines. He said that Canada was pressurizing Iran to conduct an impartial investigation into Ukraine airline affair and that the Iranian regime was not transparent.
This past year has been a challenging one for Canada, but it is difficult to sufficiently express the profound sense of loss and outrage in the downing of Flight PS752, which took 176 innocent lives, including 138 with ties to Canada. At the center of this national tragedy are the surviving families of the victims. I want to acknowledge the families of the victims of Ukraine International Airlines Flight 752. Your pain and loss is unimaginable, and we offer our deepest sympathies to you today. From the beginning, Canada has called for the Iranian regime to conduct a comprehensive and transparent investigation in accordance with international standards. In furtherance of demanding accountability, our former colleague and Canada's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Ralph Goodale, published an extensive report in his capacity as a special advisor to the government. The report makes clear that Canada remains deeply concerned about the lack of transparency, evidence, and information from the Iranian regime to explain what happened. Today, the government is taking a step to help heal some of those wounds. Effective yesterday, my department, Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada, has put into place a policy to offer a pathway to permanent residence for in-Canada families of Canadian victims of the air disasters PS752 and ET302. The public policy will remain in effect until May 11 of next year. Today's announcement provides a pathway to permanent residency to a group of people whose loved ones made this great country their home before being so suddenly and cruelly taken.
Major General Denny Fortin, head of Canada's Vaccine Distribution Task Force, said 20 million doses had been sent to provinces and territories, and by the end of this month, 5 million more doses will be sent, which is expected to reach 1 million this week from Moderna and 2 million from Pfizer. 650,000 doses of AstraZeneca has also been received from the COVAX facility.
To date, we have distributed over 20 million COVID-19 vaccines. We're aiming to distribute a cumulative total of over 25 million doses by the end of the month, this month. And our overall projected goal is for over 40 million by the end of this quarter. Earlier this week, we completed the deliveries of 2 million doses of Pfizer-BioNTech. We have also received 655,000 doses of AstraZeneca from COVAX facility earlier today. Provinces have received the allocation table and are invited to place the order for deliveries as early as beginning of next week. The situation at AstraZeneca is evolving, and we'll work with the provinces in terms of their supply needs. We want to assure everyone that sufficient supply will be available for those who want a second dose of AstraZeneca or who cannot take an mRNA vaccine. Looking ahead, we expect to receive over 2 million doses of Pfizer per week, of Pfizer-BioNTech, for the remainder of the month. For the month of June, this will increase to about 2.4 million doses a week, and we're currently in the process of confirming the number of doses we can expect per week in July. For the week of May 17th, so next week, we can expect to receive over 1 million doses from Moderna, and we continue to work with the manufacturer to determine upcoming delivery schedules. Last week, the National Operations Center held a summit on vaccine deployment with over 130 participants from federal, provincial, and territorial governments, Indigenous organizations, and international guests. It provided us with the opportunity to share insights and best practices on vaccine rollout between different jurisdictions, such as the use of Pfizer-BioNTech in pharmacies, implementing drive-through clinics. We learned from each other's experiences on how to increase efficiency at all levels. Our next step will be holding bilateral engagements with each province and territory in early June to get a sense of each jurisdiction's progression on how we can best continue to support federally in their respective vaccine rollout effort.
NDP MP Gurratan Singh raised the issue of Salman Fakiri in the Assembly in December 2016, in which he said that he was hit in the head by a guard, his hands were tied, which killed him, and no charges were filed against the guard. The Solicitor General was asked to take action in this matter and bring justice to the family of Fakiri. The Solicitor General claimed that the government was taking steps to improve the prison and was recruiting 500 correctional officers.
In December of 2016, Mr. Salman Fakiri died struggling to breathe as he lay on the ground of his jail cell in Lindsay as he was awaiting a mental health assessment. He was shackled and pepper sprayed after guards had placed a spit hood over his head. The details of this case are well known, and some of the guards involved or in question admitted wrongdoing, but no charges have been laid. And the Conservative government continues to sit on the Correctional Services Oversight and Investigation report regarding Mr. Fakiri's death. Will the Solicitor General do the right thing, make this report public, and take a step closer towards justice for Mr. Fakiri's family?
The Solicitor General.
Thank you, Speaker. You know, there are so many things that we have been able to do since forming government, particularly in corrections, and I will highlight some of those because I think the example that the member shared is very disturbing for many of us. So when we formed government, when we had the opportunity to actually make some investments in corrections, we did that decisively and we did it quickly. You will remember that we committed to hire an additional 500 correctional officers, investments in expanding jail capacity so that we don't have to house people in very small cells in 2 or 3 people to a cell. These investments are going to protect individuals who are in our correctional facilities. They're going to protect our correctional guards and other staff who work in these institutions. And ultimately, they're going to make a better society because we're putting in the programming and getting this done. Finally, we have that opportunity in government.
A supplementary question.
Thank you, Speaker. Back to the Solicitor General. My question is about Salman Fakiri. And at the time of his death, Mr. Fakiri had not been convicted of any crime. He was sick and he was in need of care. In the wake of the government's Correctional Services Oversight and Investigation report into his death, 2 out of the 6 correctional officers involved were fired. But the Conservative government refuses to make the report that led to these firings public.
Leader of the opposition in the Assembly, Andrea Harbat, once again besized the government over the decision to call up the army 5 days late. Government praises work done by the Canadian Armed Forces in long-term care homes, who claim that the Ontario government has made significant investments in long-term care homes.
We know now that the Minister of Long-Term Care was writing notes about what was happening in long-term care, and on April 17th, her note was, and I quote, "Military plan needed, get them in within 24 to 48 hours." That was on April 17th. On April 17th is when Quebec had the military come in to their province, and yet Ontario waited 5 full days before contacting the CAF, the Canadian Armed Forces, to come and help in long-term care. It's clear that the Minister of Health, the Ministry of Health, was part of the selection process, part of the decision-making process around which homes would get military aid. So my question to the Minister of Health is, when did she first learn that people in long-term care were dying from neglect and dehydration, and that military intervention was required?
To reply on behalf of the Government House Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I appreciate the question from the Leader of the Opposition. As I mentioned yesterday, we, of course, very much appreciate the work of the Canadian Armed Forces in helping out those homes that required assistance. As I've mentioned on a number of occasions, Mr. Speaker, we were clearly on the defensive for the better part of a year when it came to fighting COVID. And part of the reason we were on the defense for so long is because there had been such a lack of investment before we had taken office. Lack of investment in staffing, lack of investment with respect to the build of new homes. There was a lack of investment in refurbishing old and outdated homes, Mr. Speaker. We're addressing that now, obviously, with hiring an additional over 27,000 new PSWs, a massive build-out of long-term care homes across the province of Ontario. 4 hours of care, Mr. Speaker. Grateful for all the work that the Canadian Armed Forces did, Mr. Speaker, but we're well on our way to putting this behind us. Thank you.
The Muslim community celebrated Eid with great fanfare today. The Muslim community living in foreign countries has fulfilled the traditions of this festival. The Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, MP from Mississauga Streets Valley, Nina Tangri, and others congratulated the entire Muslim community on Eid.
On the auspicious occasion of Eid al-Fitr, I would like to express my heartfelt greetings to all of you. I wish and pray that this Eid will bring peace, happiness, joy and prosperity in your life and those of your loved ones. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the vibrant Muslim community here in Canada for the commendable work you have been doing for the community, particularly during the pandemic. This year, as we continue to battle the pandemic, celebrations will be different, but we definitely have much to be thankful for. Let us, on this occasion, continue to pray for the well-being of our brothers and sisters around the world and celebrate safely. Once again, Eid Mubarak to everyone. Stay healthy, stay safe.
Hello everyone, I'm Nina Tangri, your Member of Provincial Parliament for Mississauga Streetsville. Eid Mubarak. It is with great joy that I wish our Muslim brothers and sisters across the world a very happy Eid. Eid al-Fitr is known as the festival of breaking the fast and marks the end of Ramadan, the holy month. While Eid will certainly be different this year, I hope you have the chance to celebrate through phone or video calls with your loved ones. Additionally, I would also like to thank Ontario's Muslim organisations, which swiftly came together, and local mosques and businesses to help the most vulnerable during this pandemic. Your efforts are helping to rebuild Ontario so that it is stronger than ever before. Congratulations on the end of your spiritual journey, and once again, have a very safe and joyous Eid.
Assalamu alaikum. Today, Muslims in Canada and around the world will celebrate Eid al-Fitr and mark the end of the holy month of Ramadan, a month of fasting, spiritual reflection, and service to those less fortunate. Usually, this is a time to gather with friends and family for large meals and to share snacks and sweets. But with COVID-19 continuing to impact people across the country, we will once again need to find new ways to celebrate and to also recognize the many contributions that Muslims have made and continue to make to Canada. My friends, soon this crisis will be over. Vaccines are here, and when it's your turn, I encourage you all to go get your shot. But until then, let's find inspiration in Islam's teachings of equality, compassion, and service. And let's join together to finish the fight against COVID-19 and build back better for everyone. On behalf of our family, Sophie and I wish all those celebrating a joyful Eid Mubarak.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford has increased stay-at-home orders in view of the effects of coronavirus in province. These orders have been announced to be extended for another 2 weeks till June 2nd. Earlier, the Premier had issued a stay-at-home order on April 7.
We've all made great sacrifices to stop the rampant spread of COVID-19 variants. We put in place some of the toughest public health measures anywhere in the country. Today, I can say they're working. The situation is slowly trending in a better direction. Make no mistake, we're not out of the woods yet. Our hospitals are still under immense pressure. The spread of variants remains a major concern. So we must stay vigilant. We must keep doing what we're doing and what's working. We need to do everything in our power to protect this summer for all Ontarians. My goal is to have the most normal July and August possible. Obviously, that won't mean large sporting events or concerts, but if we manage the next few weeks properly, I believe that we can have things in a very good place this summer. To do so, we need to keep driving cases down and easing the pressure on our hospitals. We need to maintain the stay-at-home order and all public health measures until at least June the 2nd. These are precious weeks we won't put to waste. Each and every day, over 130,000 people are getting the vaccine. That's why I expect that by June the 2nd, so long as we stay the course, we will be able to reopen outdoor recreation. And by then, we will provide more details on our plan to carefully and safely begin to reopen the province in the days and weeks to follow. Friends, I know we're all eager to get back to some sense of normal, but at a time when contagious variants pose real risks to our province, we can't rush to reopen. Of course, the school situation remains a critical concern for many parents.
Dr. David Valium, Ontario's Chief Medical Officer, sheds light on the latest situation of COVID-19 in the province. He said there had been some improvement in the record number of the cases in the province. He also said that 2,079 positive cases were reported today. He said that vaccination program in the province was also running smoothly.
So I think the Premier said we're looking at our numbers. We're coming down steadily, making progress. We came down from close to 4,000 a day. Today we're posting again 2,759. So we've made progress. We're not out of the woods at this stage. We have our ICU numbers have backed off. That's encouraging. But if you look at our numbers now, we're about where we were at the peak of the second wave. So we've come down, but we have a ways to go yet. But we're doing, and all of you are doing a great job at steadily working on this progress. And at the same time, the vaccine program is really rolling out, and people are signing up, booking up, coming out, rolling up their sleeves and getting vaccinated. That number is going up as well. Our percent positivity today was under 6%. We haven't seen that for a long time. That's also encouraging. So we have these encouraging things. When you're opening up a lot of facilities, and that, as the Premier said, it's not sometimes the activity, it's what's the congregate activity that's before, after, and during some sports events, especially teams, where there's a lot of close contact. How does one do that in a certain situation, especially when at this stage, around 50% have been vaccinated. We're heading up, trying to get up to 65 to 70% by the end of the month. So these are very important times. We're in this transition period, and we hope that by the 2nd of June, we will be in a much better position if we continue to be steadfast and follow what we're doing now. So again, keep up the good work. We're progressing. We're getting there, but we're not quite there yet.
NDP leader Jagmeet Singh also commented on the federal government charity controversy and the Federal Ethics Commission report. He targeted the federal government for the scam. The report does not comment on the value or accuracy of the information which was allegedly leaked to media.
From the Ethics Commissioner is what we've known for a long time, that the Liberals continue to help the ultra-rich or their closely connected friends, and in doing so, it hurts people. And in this case, what the Ethics Commissioner found is that the Liberal government, the Liberals again, were guilty of breaching ethics. But the important thing here is they breached ethics to help their friends, and it hurts students because students still haven't received the $1 billion promised to help them out. And so really, this is the repeated behavior of the Liberals, where they help their friends or the ultra-rich, and it hurts people. They voted against pharmacare, which hurts people and helps big pharma. They voted against removing profit from long-term care, which helps those profitable for-profit million and sometimes billion-dollar corporations that make money off the backs of vulnerable seniors, but it hurts those seniors who want to see their care is a priority, not profits being a priority. And they voted against taxing the ultra-rich, again, protecting the ultra-rich, but that hurts people because people don't have the investments. Here, another example where they chose to help their friends, and that hurt students because students didn't get the help. Well, I wouldn't say it's an exoneration. I think the Ethics Commissioner really pointed out that the way that the legislation is crafted is why the guilt doesn't fall on the Prime Minister. But really it does. It falls on this Liberal government. That this Liberal government made a choice to help out.
British Columbia Medical Officer Dr. Bonnie Henry reports on COVID-19 outbreaks in British Columbia. He said that 587 positive cases have been reported in British Columbia today. He also said that the total number of positive patients in BC has reached 137,810. He said that there are more than 5,000 active cases in BC.
So today we have 587 new cases of COVID-19 to announce here in British Columbia, including one epidemiologically linked case, to bring our total numbers of people diagnosed with COVID-19 to 137,810. That includes 126 people in the Vancouver Coastal Health Region, 365 in the Fraser Health Region, 21 people who are in the Vancouver Island Health Region, 60 people in the Interior Health Region, and 15 people in Northern Health. We currently have 5,691 active cases across the province, of whom 413 people are in hospital, 141 remain in critical care or ICU. And 130,310 people have recovered from the acute phase of COVID-19. As some people may have noticed, we are no longer reporting on the number of people under active public health monitoring or follow-up, and this is for very practical reasons. This was a metric. It was basically to give people a sense of how many people have been required to be isolated or in quarantine because they've been exposed to somebody with COVID-19.
According to the Premier Doug Ford, people 12 years of age and older will be able to book a COVID-19 vaccine appointment later this month. At a press conference, Ford said that starting May 31st, children and young people between the age of 12 and 17, as well as their family members who have not been vaccinated, should be vaccinated. Pfizer will be able to book an appointment for the first dose of the vaccine. Earlier this month, Health Canada announced that this is safe to give the COVID-19 vaccine Pfizer-BioNTech to children 12 years and older. This decision was made following the results of a phase 3 clinical trial of Pfizer-BioNTech. The trial involved 2,260 adolescents between the ages of 12 and 15. So that's all we have in this edition. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more updated news.